I got many Keith Urban stories. My favorite one was at the airport. We heard, Keith Urban, you're late for your flight, over the top.
Really?
And we're thinking, this is last Thursday, right? Wednesday or Thursday of last week. And they're like, last call, Keith Urban. And my buddy and I were looking at each other and we're like, that sucks for that guy. He's got the same name as Keith Urban. And so we're kind of waiting to see this guy that looks like Keith Urban or has the same name. And here you come running by, hopping on like a normal plane. I was like, man, Keith Urban keeps it real. He still finds commercial.
It's sometimes easy, man. You know, I can go up day of show and it's easy. If we're playing in a city that they fly straight into, why not?
Do they let you go through security quicker?
Sometimes, well, not quicker, but sometimes we can go through. They'll let us go through the same one the flight attendants go through, but not as much as they used to.
So whenever the guy gets your ID and he looks at it, does he look at you a couple times and like give you a little wink or that little smile?
Well,
like,
they know me in Nashville so well now. You know, I fly all the time.
The way he describes it when he tells the story is like, and there he comes running, and his hair was just flowing in the wind. He loves your hair.
I never said that.
You read
Yes.
too many novels, man.
I never said that. No. Let's talk about the tour. It's all blowing up. It's how often are you back home in Nashville?
We're here most of the time. I mean, I tour so that I sort of go out and come home, go out and come home. So I'm only really gone 3 or 4 days at a time, which I love touring that way. It's a lot of travel, but I'd rather do that than be out for months and months and not come home.
Our friends, Little Big Towner, with you guys. We love those guys.
Yeah, I do too. They're great. And Dustin Lynch.
And Dustin's awesome too.
Yeah, he's really cool.
So how do you get those guys on your tour? What's the process of getting someone like that to be with you? You just call them and say, I'd like for you to be with me?
Well, there's always like various people that can come out, and there's musical things that fit. I mean, I just want to bring out people that musically fit, but also are cool to be around and know how to entertain. And for me, Dustin and LBT totally fit that bill.
Who did you tour with back in the day when you were those guys? Like, who asked you to come out and be on big
Jesus,
tours?
everyone. Man.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Like,
Tracy Bird. I mean, we were opening for everybody back in the day.
Like, who was the coolest call back in the day when you're starting out? You're like, man, this is crazy. I just got a call to open up for blank.
Brooks and Dunn. And what happened was we were playing this place called Jack's Guitar Bar, which used to be off on Nolensville Road. It was just the divest club. Is that even a word? It was the divest.
Yeah,
I think
you've
divest.
created
Yeah,
a new-
it was the divest club. And Kix had heard about our band, and he showed up one night, and him and his wife Barbara had just been to some fancy dinner, so he shows up at this hole in the wall, dressed immaculately, and Barbara looks like she's just walked out of the Skirmahorn or something, and they walk in, and it's and he just walks straight in, sits down, watched our band play. I was like, man, that's Kix Brooks. That's so cool. This is like 1995. We barely had a record deal. We had nothing happening. And Kix came up afterwards and he's like, man, I really like you guys. You want to come out and open some shows with us? I'm like, yeah, that'd be great. Just thinking he's hammered
right?
or something. What, even not going to remember us. And about 2 weeks later, he called out the guy who was managing us, and we went out and started opening for Brooks and Dunn. And what I remember most about that show was we were traveling around in a van. It was the three of us in a band and our sound man, so the four of us in a van. And I remember us backing into the first arena, and there's all these big Brooks and Dunn trucks, and we're like, meep, 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 and a little van backing and squeezing in, schlepping all our stuff out of the van. And Kix came in to rehearsal and walked around to all the road crew, and he's like, these are buddies of ours, give them anything they want, take care of them. He was just such a class act, and he's always been that for us.
You started in a band. There's a transition going from that to yourself, and what happened there?
I mean, I've done every combination. I've played solo, I've played duo, I've played trios, bands, everything. Playing 4-hour sets a night, doing covers. So really, being in a band is probably the smaller part of my life. So when I left that band and got back to doing what I was doing, it felt, more me.
I mean, is that how you became so good too? Just grinding it out night after night?
I think there's no sort of there's no other way around that. I think the only way to figure out to entertain people, put on a show, even something as simple as putting a set list together. Who teaches you how to put a set list together? How do you know how to put a set list together? Have all the songs that you're going to do, and if someone's like hurling insults at you from the audience, do you know how to deal with it? If the power goes out, do you know what to do? I mean, all that stuff you just learn in the clubs.
So anyone ever jump on stage, scare the crap out of you?
Yeah, for sure.
Recently?
Yeah, not recently, no. No. But I had a guy I got fired from a gig one time, and I was subbing for a friend of mine. This friend of mine had a solo gig every Friday night, and he calls me and he goes, man, I'm not going to be there. Can you come and fill in for it? I'm like, sure. So I'm at this club called the City Rowers. It's an afternoon shift from like 4 till 8 on a Friday afternoon. And so you get all the drunken office workers coming in, and they're getting all hammered. And I used to finish my set with The Devil Went Down to Georgia, but I play it on guitar. And I got the little drum machine going a million miles an hour, you know. And I crank my little PA on a stick. I crank it up. And there's nobody on the dance floor. I'm like, there's a 1 acre dance floor with nobody on it. Everybody's way in the distance at the bar. And I'm just like flying on the guitar. And this huge, obese guy comes up in his business suit. And he stands right in front of me with his fingers in his ears. And he just stood there for the whole song. And I'm kind of like trying to give him the evil eye to get out of the way, you know, because it's just like completely killing the whole vibe. Like there wasn't any vibe. But like that. And anyway, cut a long story short, I finished the set and he walked up and he's basically telling me that I sucked and I should just quit and everything. And I ended up calling him something horrendous and got fired. Got completely fired. The manager of the club came over and goes, what did you say to this customer? And I go, I called him a, you know, I couldn't give a shit, you know, I just didn't care. It's like, what do I care? I'm playing this dump anymore. So, but I had to call my buddy and go, I got fired from subbing for your gig, you know.